All right, cool. We're live. So I want to walk through, let me share screen now. So we have this. Where'd it go? We go Chrome. Let me share screen now. So we have this. All right, cool. So when we're starting off, so first off, a couple things. By the way, you guys want to get a script for Roman, you can reply to all and put the training confirmation script on there. This right here, your training confirmation calls, and I was talking to Roman about this last week, really understanding the objective just of that call is to really bring people prepared. And so you don't want to wait until the night right before training, because it doesn't give them enough time to do the objective of the call, which is to increase their list. Cool. We want them coming with a bigger list to training. Your top guys, you want them coming with 50 to 100 names or more. So if we want to do that, we've got to follow up and set them up for success. So I would say we're running interviews from the Friday before. There's people from last week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday interviews. Like I would be calling all of those by Wednesday, the latest, and then the guys who you recruited Wednesday, I check up on them Thursday earlier in the day, like lunchtime. And if they're like in high school for some reason, or they're in school, whatever, you can call them right after, just shoot them a text. But you want to follow up so that they have time that evening to work on their list. All right. And you'll see in the actual confirmation call what that does. But you want to connect with them, see how they're feeling, see how their family's, feeling. 30 plus names. You want everyone filling in their sheet of 30 plus names. And reminding them, hey, our top guys typically have 50 to 100 or more. So the more names and numbers you're able to come with, the more time you put into this, the faster of a start you're going to get off to, the bigger paycheck you're going to get right away. All right. So them knowing that. And remind them, hey, don't forget about friends and family from out of town, because they can also, we're going to show you how to do virtual demos as well. And we have people who do their the whole business is done virtually. So anyway, so making sure those confirmation calls, like, again, it's not just like, hey, just want to confirm you for tomorrow to know if they're coming. The confirmation call is to set them up for success, to create a big pop for you guys. So making sure we do that properly. Cool. Then when they walk in, what do things look like in your office? All right. So there's some things here that you see: first promo, first weekend poster, which I think we had put into the other room. We're still like organizing stuff. 10K fast start poster or fast start wall. And I like having that. One of the things we're missing right now that I like to have is specific numbers of fast start totals. I like them seeing this person sold, 30,000, whatever. This person sold 25,000. We had the record breakers that we put up in the other room. Right over, but that's something that I don't know. Did we put those back up in the main room, the records that we had in the big room this summer? The records we had? Okay, so can you put that on your list to make sure that we find those tomorrow so we can put those back up? So we at least have some numbers that people can go after. There's people that like to break records, cool? We attract a lot of competitive people. So having numbers and having names and numbers up gives people something to shoot after, right? And they're like, I want to beat that record. If it's someone they know, they're like, oh, I want to beat that person. It's like, oh, this is our top person from blank school. They're like, I want to be the top person from Pearland High School, whatever it is. So having numbers up is a really good thing psychologically. So, some people, like, you'll walk in, like Jordan, he put stars up because I know I had those. I took those from Matt King. Matt King was hands down one of the best managers in our company, period, ever, year after year, perennial champion. Drew took over that title, but like Matt's who I learned so much from. And I guess Matt, myself, and then Drew. It's like the lineage. But that was something where he had like little, like, I don't know, they had stars, and he had baseballs in his office. He played baseball. So, like you can go to a teacher store and they have like things that you can put someone's name and, fill out little shapes and stuff to decorate. He had baseballs up on his, and I had seen stars in someone else's, but he had the, like, the top 10 was in the front, and that was your goal. Can you break into the top 10 of all time? And those numbers were there. But I can't tell you how many times. And I remember in West Houston, when people used to be like, oh my God, I didn't know so-and-so works here. Oh my God, I know their little sister. Oh my God, so it's good to have. And when you go to a territory, you can ask for the top names from that territory. When Jordan started it, he stole a bunch of mine. He just took pictures of mine and used those. But he also requested some of their top people. And I requested recently 10K fast starts for all of Houston. I think, did I send that to you? But I have that in my email, is 10K fast starters in Houston. So those are good things to, like, again, put numbers up. But what are they seeing? Are they seeing checks, right? Like the checks on the wall where they see big numbers. So we can show them. And by the way, if it was someone's first weekend, someone's first week, you want to write that on the check, by the way. So when you do the big checks, Roman, you should write on the memo or above it, like first weekend or first week, and like add that on there, because it gets people thinking bigger. And they're like, holy crap, people earn that much in their first weekend. And not just one person, but lots of people earning $300 or more in their first weekend. We have lots of examples of that, and so that's really powerful, because most people, they make $300 in a week working, so to like earn that in 24 to 48 hours, like that's freaking awesome. So are we putting that up? Comma Club, then having your Dirty 30, promotion board, which I don't know if we're doing that on the back. I know I wanted to do a dreams board, but I also want to have something, and I don't know if we can pick one of the walls, but just to have like everyone who's Dirty 30, like having pictures of everyone who's Dirty 30. So we used to have, I think Spencer actually shot me a picture that he goes, what do you want to do with these pictures? And it was a bunch of pictures of Dirty 30 people, but we had put them all around. But it was a big thing. When you get to Dirty 30, you get to put your picture on the wall. People like to see their name. People like to see their picture. So that is something that I would highly recommend doing that, having a nice display of Cutco, trophies, awards, office goals and mission statement, are those up? Those are big things, and that are great to have up, that get people thinking about things. Something that Drew did an amazing job creating was the simple steps of like cut food, read your manual, whatever. And he made different posters that if people are zoning out during training, they're getting what they need to know, like CMAT customers, MAC, what does it take fast start? We have that fast start, whatever. He made those. So he's like, dude, if they don't listen to a damn thing I said and they just read the posters around the damn room, they'll know what to do and be successful, like let's make it that easy for people. So putting those things around are things that really help out. But I think about with training, before people are coming in, are things set up, right, for training? Like, what's the feel like as they're coming in? And you have, have name tags, have things. Something that's a little thing, but a big thing, by the way, is when they're walking in, you should be clicking in Vector Live. Someone should be clicking that they showed up as they're coming in and saving it, because they automatically get their email to fill out verify their information. Please make a note and put a star next to this. If you don't have people verify their information, guys, within a couple hours, guess what? Your whole system's locked and nothing's happening on Vector Live. No recruiting, no interviews, no nothing. Everyone's locked out of the system. So do not do that. Set yourself up properly. So as people are coming in, and then also if someone's there, like as they're coming in, they're doing that, it makes it a lot easier versus later trying to handle everyone, because someone goes, oh, I didn't get it. You can check right away while people are still getting there before training gets started. What are you saying?
I found out that if you don't verify it on the first day, it's not marked on the show. So they'll come to day two and says,
yeah.
And then it still locks your system, so that you have to confused.
And there's a lot of legality with this. We want to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and the company wants to make sure that people are on that. So just as they walk in, hey, you just go click, what's your name? Okay, cool. Or their name, you click them, show, hey, here's a paper to fill out, the get to know you sheet, make a name tag and say, hey, by the way, you should have just gotten an email that says verify your information. Can you make sure you got that? So if not, I can check. And they just say, like, yeah, I got it. I'm like, awesome. I'm like, sign that real quick and fill out your paperwork. So you're just letting them know as they arrive. So Kenneth, if you're there as people are coming in, or Erica, like, let's make sure that's happening on Fridays. It makes things so much smoother for clicking everybody in as they're showing up. Cool. So having all the copies that you need for training, and people use different copies, and I'll give you guys a folder of all the things that we have or we use. And maybe you guys create some prettier, nicer things. Great. All right. But then having some product out. So I always like to have, I want to make sure they can use, bless you, they can use a peeler. And I like them using the peeler, the trimmer, and the chef knife when they come in if possible, just to get them playing with the knives and being like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, but definitely, rope leather and carrots. You want some kind of product that wows them. And then, you can cut, pennies and stuff, but I really like them to start cutting up food, and then later we're going to cut a lot more. All right. Especially when there's big training classes in the summer. I like that some of the people got to cut earlier, because then that makes it easier later as well. And they'll just spend more time role playing, with their partner, the presentation. So we have for day one, I do peanut butter and jelly, or sometimes we do pizza. We do both. So either or, sometimes we'll do pizzas. I don't like to buy, 15 or 20 pizzas. I rather buy 4 loaves of peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a bread and PB&J. It's a lot cheaper. When it's smaller classes, I'm fine, buying a couple pizzas. But I don't recommend you guys buying 10 pizzas and spending $50 every week on pizza when you could have literally spent like $10 and it would have lasted you 2 weeks, or bought one more loaf the next week. You still have PB&J from the week before. So be smart with that, but you do want to have some kind of snacks, for breakfast. You guys know what we do. Pancakes. It's cheap as hell. All right. So you could do bagels, you could do donuts, but you could buy a bag of pancake mix at Costco for like $20, and that's going to last you like a couple months, but even if it was a month, it's still cheaper, and you can be, making pancakes and stuff. What? But even if you go to Costco, you can get 72 waffles for like $20. Yeah. So Eggos are also really good. You just have to pack somewhere to store them. That's it. That's it. But you can store it in your house and just bring 2 packs that day to training. But that's it, just storage with the freezer. That's the only thing with that. Where pancake mix, you don't have to store it anywhere. You can have it out. That you do have to store somewhere, So just keep that in mind. If you don't have like a freezer, that you can't really do that. So, but it is a great thing. We always used to do that in Miami because I had a full fridge with a full freezer. Yeah, but we had everything. So we stocked up, man. When push came, we had waffles. That was my favorite thing to buy, and like smoothie stuff and cereal. And like we had a full kitchen, but you're not going to have that. So then you have water. You're not. I would have never had that office, but I took over my DVM's office. So that is definitely a DVM office and completely unnecessary. Water, making sure that you guys have that, so buy packs of water. They're $3 or $4 for a pack, so to make sure people have water. Hopefully you have a water fountain nearby, but if someone didn't bring a water bottle, to at least give them one and tell them to put their name on it and refill it at the fountain. Don't give them any more than one, but give them one, or you can, sell them for $1. I used to have an actual vending machine in Florida. So people would put money into the vending machine, just like anywhere you go, there's like a vending machine outside. So I had a vending machine set up, and then when it broke, we just started our ghetto vending machine, and we always used to and just bring stuff out because I just hadn't rebought one. I started looking at some again now to buy one for this next year. But if you can find one for sale for free or for cheap, those are great because things are locked up. People can't just take your snacks, and then there's always food available when people want to buy snacks. And then you provide what you want for free of like the PB&J and extra waters or whatever if somebody needs it. Make sure people are hydrated and have some candies or something. So those are things that I give away for free, like cheap things, just to everyone gets one. And then beyond that, they can buy it. So then I'm here to relationships. All right. So big thing for you guys, something that I used to do a really damn good job of. And it hasn't been something that's been top of mind. It's been a while since I've been running training consistently in my role as a division manager versus the district manager. But what I would tell you guys is making sure as you're interviewing during the week, are you actually like keeping all your applications from the week? If you're not going to keep all of them, keep your sharp ones, like all the kids that you want to launch. But it's good to keep them all. And I just rated them. Like I knew who were my star people, who were my average people, and who were my people I was giving a chance to. But it was a really good thing the morning of training to like review those and read through those again. And by the way, have someone put them in alphabetical order by first name, because when someone walks in and they're filling out their paperwork, like that's your cheat sheet. And I'm like, Susan, and I like read through while she's writing stuff. And then I'm like, so Susan, you went to, or how was this? Or, and you're talking and to them about something in their application, and they're like, oh my God, they remembered me, or they actually read it, you know, where like you totally were cheating and like reading it. They don't know that. But it helps you get really good at that. You know, like I remember the lady who managed down in Miami, the head of career services at FIU, like she watched me one time and she's like, gosh, how do you know everything about these people? I started laughing. I go, let me show you how to cheat. You're allowed to cheat as a director of career services. There's no way in heck you're going to remember people's names. I said, the more time you spend with people, you will remember them. But here's a method, you know? And for me, from the interview, I sat people and put their application. So I said their name, I put what they were wearing. That helped me start remembering the process. When they came in for training, I like to have a seating chart. A seating chart helps me remember people because I'm really good at remembering where they were, you know? And you're like, do you remember this person? I'm like, where were they sitting? Like, you know, I'm like second row on the end. I'm like, oh, okay, that's that guy. Like, so I don't know their name, but I know their face and where they were. So seating charts for me are awesome because I can remember everybody. Like I can remember a class of like 60 people if I have a seating chart. But it really does make an impact. But for you guys, if you want to connect on a deeper level, you want to know about them. So being able to look at their sheet that morning before you start makes a really big impact. Cool. By the way, hopefully you guys are taking notes on this because I'm going to call on you guys when we're covering this in 3 weeks from now to just give me the quick things, the quick version of all the stuff I'm giving you guys right now. Cool. So please be ready to give some feedback. So we start training when you guys start off. This here you have, you know, day one. And it has here, you know, what to expect the next 2 days, right? So it says here, personal introduction. I'm so-and-so, responsible for this, you know, brief bio, welcome to our team. You know, we're in the Gulf Coast Division, talk about our goal is to really support you guys. And it says, here's what to expect in the next 2 days, right? So something that I started doing is just kind of walking them through like what their first week is going to. So I'm like, so let me walk through what the next couple of days and your first week's going to look like. And I'm like, you know, today we're going to go through and letting them know we're going to do the couple demo, 70% of the demo. We're going to go through competitors and what's out there. So when someone asks you, how does this compare to the German ones? You're not like, right? And so we're going to talk about competition. We're going to go through some marketing and sales skills. We're going to learn the different sets, do a quick pay review. And then we're going to actually, we're going to get to use some of the knives. We'll take a break using them, chopping stuff up. Hopefully you guys brought stuff we can chop and eat. But then letting them know and saying, and then guys, I'm gonna do an exercise with you guys. It's probably one of the most impactful things that helped me in training. We already started working on their practice list. All right. And then most people, hopefully, if not all, are raising their hand because you set them up properly. I'm like, great. Who here already has like 15 or more? Who got to 30 already? Anyone get to 50? Anyone get more than that? And the high, I'm like, anyone get to 100? I'm like, by the way, if you didn't, don't stress out. I had 17 when I came to training. But during this exercise, and you guys can share that with people, by the way. I had 17 when I went to training. I was like, but through this exercise that my manager did with us, I was able to get a list of over 100 people who would be excited about having 50 to 100 people that you could possibly practice with. Cool. So we're going to show you guys that today. And I'm going to do that with you. And then we're going to teach you how to contact people. All right. So you're just letting them know what's going to happen so they know what to expect. And I'm like, I'm going to teach you how to contact people. All right. Because you're not just going to call them up and be like, yo, what's up? I got these knives. Can I come through? Like, we're not going to do that. So I'm going to show you how to set up a professional appointment. It's super easy. It's like asking for a cup of sugar or whatever. And so you're just popping at the beginning. So they're not like later, like, what? I didn't know. Like, they know from the beginning. I'm like, it's super easy. We're going to show you. We're going to do it together. We're going to contact them. I'm like, and literally you're just like, hey, auntie, hey, I started a new job showing Cutco. Part of my training, I have to do a quick training appointment. Doing it for the training. If they get anything, I get paid just to do it. Like, literally, that's what you're saying. I'm like, so we're going to walk through that later. We're going to show you guys a maxed out schedule. Who here would be excited about making $1,000 or $2,000 their first week on the job? Sounds pretty crazy to say that. Everyone on that wall made over $2,000 their first week. Top earner earned almost $10,000 his first week. Now, by the way, he's not average. He broke the national record. But just so you know, it's possible. And if someone's willing to put in the work, they can definitely see some pretty kick butt results. All right. So that's going to be the flow. And by the way, for those of you who really want to crush this weekend and this week, tonight, I'm going to actually I'm going to be coaching you guys, and you're invited to stay after. I'll get you some dinner, and we'll work with you guys extra to really set you up success for a big weekend. But anyone who's willing to work hard, the harder you work, the harder we work for you. We're going to talk about that. You know, but they're like, all right. I'm like, so we're going to be here today till about midnight. All right. And I'm just kidding. So we're scheduled till 7, you know, and we'll stay after. I'll get dinner and I'll keep working with you guys and make sure you're set up the right way. And it's a little pain for a lot of gain. I would write that down. I always say that, like, it's a little pain for a lot of gain. Those who stay, I'm like, it pays in dividends. Okay. Tomorrow. What time do we start tomorrow? Yeah. Okay. 9:30 or whatever time you start. Well, guys, whoever really wants to crush this week, anyone who raised their hand about wanting to earn a couple grand this weekend, get your butts up tomorrow morning. Show me with your actions. Cool. And that's another phrase. Show me with your actions. All right. But I'm like, hey, those of you who said, do you want to make a grand or two this weekend? Awesome. Show me with your actions. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be here. I have something called Breakfast Club. All right. And so I'm going to share with you guys some tips. Who here wants to know how to make $400 or more the first weekend? Cool. We're going to share with you the $400 formula. All right. And guys, if you follow what I show you in the morning, if you follow, like, I have not had someone who's done that and not made $400 or more their first weekend. All right. So come tomorrow morning earlier. We'll give you those tips, and we'll also have some time to book up some more appointments. Cool. So tomorrow we're going to go through, and then we go through all the things we're going to cover on day 2, which is on there. And then I let them know, and I go, by the way, guys, when we're done at 5 o'clock, guess when you can do your first appointment? Right away. Most of these guys, and I'm always pointing to the big earners, right? But I'm like, most of these guys, they literally left here, boom, and they had their number 1 best customer right away. Like, they're like, see ya, and they went straight to the house, and they rocked out 3 or 4 appointments their first night. And that's how they hit 1 promotion or even 2 promotions in their first night. And then went to the next day. And they were, I remember Adriano started demos, so did Catalina at 7 in the morning because they had grandparents who were early birds. You know, I remember Jessica Perez knocking out her first complete set at 7:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. demo with her uncle. You know, I remember, and so up to you how early or late you want to go, but if there's a time to do it, it's this weekend. What am I doing? I'm setting the stage for them wanting to go for a big, fast start. Cool? This is not in your notes here, but it's, I'm sharing people, I'm sharing things. And they're like, oh, you know, but I'm like, yeah, Catalina never wakes up until like noon, you know, and she was like, all right, I'm going to go hard. Well, guys, her first paycheck was over $1,000 for her first, day and a half of work. That was pretty cool. You know, Adriano's first paycheck was $1,012 for 24 hours of work. That's pretty cool. And he sacrificed his Saturday night with his buddies, and he worked until late, and he was up early Sunday morning. Did he do that 4 months working with us? You know, no, but he maximized his fast start, and that helped him earn $1,000 in his first weekend, and, you know, $3,000 his first week. That's pretty cool, you know? So for anyone who's willing to pull into work, we're going to coach you guys. So this weekend, you want to do as many appointments as you can. And so I go beyond the 2 days, and I say, and then we're going to come back together. Do you guys remember from your interview how many times a week we see you? 2. Cool. We love to see you 3 or more. All right. If they answer that, I'm like, yes. I was like, actually, our top guys are here like 4 or 5 times a week. Totally up to them, not required. But everyone is required to stop by here twice a week. Do you guys remember when? We have payroll, payday, Sunday or Monday, and depending on the time of the year. But I'm like, we got PSP, and we do payroll. And then we have team meeting, right? And that's when we get together and talk about that. Be like, on top of that, you guys have personal consultations you can take advantage of. We're going to talk about those. We have workshops, and in your first week, we have some advanced trainings. And what we did is we connected those to when you were going to be here anyway. Cool? So we're going to meet with you Monday, and we're going to do your payroll while you're here and give you some extra tips to review this weekend and to launch you into the week. And then we're going to get together before the team meeting, give you an extra hour of goods to help launch you into a big weekend. And then Saturday morning, we're going to have Breakfast of Champions to help you guys finish your last couple of days strong. Cool? And for those of you who take advantage of those, I'll tell you, all these top guys, they weren't just here those 3 times. These guys will tell you they were with me every day at 7 a.m. for their first week. And by the way, not required. It's an invitation, not an obligation. But for those of you who are like, yeah, I want to make $2 grand, $3 grand, well, then you better be willing to wake your butt up. I mean, these guys, they were up, they were working. I have no problem handing 2, 3, 4, 5 grand to someone if they're willing to put in the work, which includes a week of waking up and working by 7 a.m., you know? So again, that's not part of the job. It's just, it's out there for those who want to excel at a high level. And what's nice is now you can work part-time and make a full-time income, you know? And I show them an example of someone. I'm like so-and-so hates waking up early, but they really liked when they did this. They were at 30%. I'm like, and now he could work one day and make this. And they're like, whoa, you know. And I usually share John Gradell. So I'm like, John Gradell did a memorial, and I even told him, I go, hey, you can call in every morning. You don't have to drive. No, I'm gonna come. He drove from Memorial down here every day. But John also made $3,500 his first week or something like that, right? What did he sell? Okay, so like $3,000. So somewhere close to $3,000. I'm like, that's pretty cool, you know? So he was here every day. I was like, you don't have to come live, but he wanted to. And the fact is, you'll get extra attention. And like I said before, the harder you work, the harder we work for you. That's the phrase I say a lot too. And so they know that. I'm like, those are the people I give attention to. You know, like sometimes you'll hear me say, like people ask, does Kathy play favorites? Absolutely. Those who work hard, that's who she spends more time with. So if you want to get on her good side, like put action forward, like that's going to take you a long way. And you can see that for yourself. Like when I ran training, I was like, people ask, does Kathy play favorites? Absolutely, guys. I'm letting you know right now. You know who my favorites are? The ones who put in the work. Cool. The ones who actually back their talk with action. So if you actually want to do, like, show me, and I will go out of my way to help you be successful. So that's your first week. And then guys, so your first week, you want to just, I would recommend for those who can, do as much as you can. We'll talk about that later, what that looks like. For some of you, that'll be 2 appointments a day. For some of you, it'll be 8 appointments a day. But maximize your first week. You never get your fast start back. And there's some really cool prizes and contests and stuff. After your first week, we'll meet with you and we'll make a normal schedule. Cool? Part-timers typically work 2 or 3 days a week. Full-timers work 4 to 6 days a week. Everybody's different depending on their goals, whether it's financial goals or their schedule, and we'll make a schedule that works for you. Everyone good? All right, awesome. So we're excited, and now we're going to dive into training. But I like walk them through so now they know everything, and they're like, all right, cool, you know? And I set, like, I want to make sure I set the expectation of fast start and like them wanting to go after it, them wanting to work hard in their first week, them wanting to, and all that goes a really long way. All right, so I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause real quick for comments or questions from you guys. Huh? I know, that's good.
I like that.
All right.
I like that you said the standard before you start to train, like part-time workers work this much, full-time workers work this many days, they come this many days, show up at this time, they make this much money.
Yeah, it's real expectations of what it's going to take if you want to go big, right? Like I can't, there's no way I can tell you you're going to earn $2,000 or more if you're not want to wake up and work hard for a week, you know?
So they already know ahead of time instead of being like, what?
Right.
I was going to make this much. It's like, no, you're not putting in the actions, but you're investing before.
For sure.
So yeah, that's what I thought of.
Day 2, I have those on their yeah. And that's more for regular work. So it's like after your first week. So I'm really stressing like your first week, our guys just like go all out, whatever that looks like for you. And that's the other thing. Cause I used to be like, everyone goes all out, and then I used to lose all the kids who could only work part-time. Like, I don't think I could do that. I don't have enough time, you know? And so I'd lose these kids. I was like, what? You know, and I was doing too much this way. And so I learned, you know, hey, for those of you who want to be at the top, this is what the top guys do. And so those kids were like, well, that's me, you know? And then it's like, and then we have our guys who work part-time. And the other guys are like, all right, cool. So I just learning to cater, that took me a bit. I honestly didn't learn that until 2007. And I was a manager since 2003. So learning that push and pull of like really setting those high expectations. And that was our first $1.5 million year in 2007. And it was awesome. And I had my first like bunch of 10K fast starters. Actually, no, I had my first 10K fast starters. It was like 5. And then 2008, we had like 16 of them, you know, that summer or maybe more. But just learning that where I had a group of 50 kids and I didn't scare the lower guys away by talking about how we went all out. But I said, hey, for those of you who want to be above average, for those of you who want to be the top performers, this is what those guys do. And those guys were like, you know, and those guys rise up because they like naturally like want to kick everyone's ass. So they're like, okay, I want to spend time with her. Okay, I want to get here early tomorrow because if I show up early, those are the people Kathy's going to pay attention to, right? Because what did I say? Hey, if you want to go for those big numbers, I have no problem coaching, but show me with your actions. You know, get up tomorrow morning, be here, and we'll go from there. So they knew those things. So that was a really big thing. That I remember when I started doing that in 2007, it was a huge game changer with our pop. And really catering to everyone feeling good, but them also like knowing what was going to happen. So there was no surprises, you know? they like knew what was going on. So any other questions or comments from you guys on the computer? Are you guys just all in awe? You're like, wow. All right, so, well, it's recorded. You can go back and check it out. So I'm gonna stop sharing the screen just for time-wise, just to walk you guys through, because really now you'll go through that intro and you press the video, cool? And you're on video training, or those of you who have ran live trainings and you wanna run it live, you can. There's honestly no need, but there is a need to proctor properly. And we'll be talking about how to proctor training the right way at the monthly prep in 3 weeks. So I'll walk through all the objectives of each section, and then we'll have somebody else who will be walking through proctoring training, all right? So just so you guys know that. But after we've done, by the way, your opening comments, just so you guys know, your total opening comments should be about 45 minutes, an hour max, not 2 hours. Got it? 45 minutes. So you got to cut that shit down. Mine used to be long too, and I got it cut down. I know you can. But it really takes focus and intentionality and just going through and hitting the points. Then.
Wait, you said open comments total 45 minutes? Opening comments total 45 minutes?
Yeah, an hour tops. So by the way, if training starts at noon, I know within an hour and a half, like at latest, if I'm not already doing the demo walkthrough, I'm in deep shit, because within 2.5 hours of starting, if your training starts at 1 o'clock, at 3:30, you should be cutting and coming back for value at 4. So like you have 2.5 hours maximum for the first part, which is opening comments, demo walkthrough, names and uses. Like all of that is 2 to 2.5 hours. And by the way, it's 2.5 hours if you have a bunch of pop-ins, not because you just wanted to talk for 2.5 hours. So the reason it goes longer is because of additional pop-ins. So typically if it starts at 1, you don't actually start talking until 1:15, 1:20. If you ran late, 1:30. And that's why I said by 2:30, within an hour and a half at latest from start time, not from when you started talking, from start time of training, within an hour and a half at latest, you should be on demo walkthrough, okay? Then when you go into demo walkthrough, now you're going through the objectives, which I'm gonna hit that in a couple weeks, so I don't need to walk through that, but that's really simple. And you want people going, oh, Hunter, okay, cool. All I have to do is read this, okay, people buy. Oh, look how simple. Like they just need to feel really comfortable, like, wow, this is really easy, this is really simple. They need to feel like anybody can do this. Like, oh, I can read, okay, I'm good, and then, but just by you giving statistics, by you giving stories, by them meeting people through pop-ins, those are the things that help create higher sales expectation, okay? So share stuff, and it can be personal stories, like, oh, I didn't think this person was gonna buy, and I went and saw them, and they were like, oh my God, I love to cook, this is amazing, what a great investment, and I was blown away because I didn't realize, what parents spent their money on, and even though some of my family was lower income, and I didn't think they'd spend the money, so yeah, I didn't know that they'd spend the money. And that was something where I was hesitant to see some people. I didn't realize what adults spend money on. And we're going to talk about that later, but just like little plugs without actually seeing the prices, right? Until we're going to get to value after we do like names and uses. So the demo, it's quick. And by the way, it's gotten even quicker, where it's a quick, like, okay, back and forth, quick role play. But what I know is that you can create a lot, especially for your middle, lower income kids, like they need that confidence and the repetition. And you can create a lot of connection through conversations that you can have with people as they're actually role playing, And so going around and actually talking to them of like, hey, how are you feeling? Hey, do you have any questions? And was this brought up in Olean? Was this brought up in Training Pop at all? Or did they talk about that? Oleaners? Okay. But there's a lot you can do to make people feel comfortable and just like build rapport, like as people are role playing. So I like them to role play. I typically just role played for years. I just role played the company and junk knives. They did that, and then I went through the rest of the stuff. I went through features and benefits and names and uses, bless you. And names and uses, we practiced. And by the way, when they were doing that, because when we had bigger training classes, we took turns. We did that a couple times. Roman, you've seen me do that, where part of the class was role playing and part of the class was cutting. But what I did before is when you're going to do that, when you're going to cut up because you have a big group. So this is for big recruiting territories. So you guys know, do your names and uses in the training room in front of everybody, like use the knives on your training desk, and then have them start role playing. Say, I'm going to call you guys in groups to come use some of the stuff, practice, and then have your, like help when you have big training class. Most of you guys aren't going to deal with this yet. And when I say big training class, this is 30 plus people. Okay. But you're not going to deal with this yet. So you don't need to worry about this as much, but still show them how to cut and then taking turns. But even 20 something people, not everyone can hit the table. So there's people just standing around not doing anything. It's better to be like, hey, everyone practice. All right. Hey, you wait, come over here. And they get to use it. And then, hey, go use the bathroom, make a PB&J, and then come back to practice, and then grab the next group and go with them. And then, if anyone needs to use the bathroom, go. I'm not going to tell you when you have your bio break, just go if you need to go, and then come back. But by the way, set the stage before you role play, set the stage before you break, and say, hey, as we go through this, our breaks are going to be active breaks. And what I mean by that is I want to get you guys getting as many run-throughs, because the more you practice here, the more comfortable you're going to feel. Okay. And so letting people know, when you do it the first time, you're going to suck. It's going to be horrible. When you do it a second time, the third time, you start feeling a little bit better. Fourth or fifth time, you're feeling pretty good. By the time you've said it 10 times, you pretty much know it. All right. And that's important for people to get. All right. So they don't go, oh, I already read it. I'm good, Hunter. And you're like, oh, you already said it 10 times? You can say it to me, go. No, they don't know it yet. So just getting them, creating a desire for them to want to practice more. Be like, I want to get you guys freaking great. Those of you who want to make the big bucks, the more confident you are when you go out, the better you're going to do. So anytime I give you guys a break to practice, the more run-throughs you can get, the better you're going to do. And the more confidence you're going to have, for sure. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. So now when break comes, they want to practice versus oh, you want me to practice? Because they want to make money and they want to do well. So set that up. So when you get to that part and they're actually using the knives and cutting, that you're able to have them working, but then also you working the room, right? And using that time to connect with people. Oh, so how are you feeling for this weekend? How's this weekend looking? How's family support? Hey, what are you thinking? Hey, have you thought about getting on that wall? That's a great thing to talk to your sharp kids about. Have you thought about getting on that wall? Be like, hey, you're someone I could definitely see getting there. Be like, let me know if that's something you want to go after. We'll talk later, and just plant those seeds as they're role playing, plant those seeds as they're cutting of hey, have you thought about that? Hey, you're someone I could definitely see there. Let's chat later, and then you're going to pull them back at the end of training, but you want to be finding those people and getting them to start thinking about that. All right. It's just those little comments are the things that they start going, I didn't think about it, but maybe I should, maybe I could, I don't know, but that starts building up. And I mean, that's shit. Our business, there's so many things that if someone hadn't asked me, I remember my first summer, have you thought about doing this full time? I would have never thought about doing it full time. I would have kept working multiple jobs I was, and so those little questions get them actually thinking about stuff. So just always planting those seeds with people. All right. So I'm going to stop for today. I know I covered a lot of ground. I would like to hear before we wrap up, and then we're going to transition into staff meeting for the pilot office. I'd love to hear biggest takeaways or ahas or biggest tips that I gave you guys that stood out. So if you guys can identify your top 1 to 3 things that you really liked, so we can go around. I want to hear everybody's shares, and then we'll roll. All right.
At the beginning,
The public speaking or just
I like to,
Whoa. All right, Hunter, you go first.
at the beginning, whenever you mentioned taking a sip of water and a pause when you don't know what to say, that's smart. That's really smart. And I think that's a super important key that would help you with your public speaking.
Cool. I like it. Any things with training, since you've ran training already, that stood out or you feel could be really helpful?
Yeah, opening comments, don't make them too long. I kind of had to cut it down because I realized I would be running over, and it cut into call time towards the end and all sorts of stuff like that. So definitely 45 minutes to an hour. That's a good amount of time.
Cool. Awesome. Opening comments, it's the first part of your training. If you look at the outline, it's opening comments, which is all your comments for your opening training. Then you do a demo walkthrough with the manual. Then you chop food up. Then you do value section. Then you do a names list. Then you do schedule and phone talk. Like that's just your day. Cool. So opening, you'll see the outline, but it's like welcome, like keys to succeeding with Cutco, have a good attitude, whatever, you share stories, but there's different bubbles to pop through that process, which we'll talk about. All right, Steven.
This is something that I really loved because I love doing this on my preference when you're talking about like the less words and more pictures, because I am not a very like scripted like speech person. I'm a very like bullet like for instance for speeches for me, I would just have bullet points and then I'd basically be improving all my bullet points, and obviously I can't exactly do that every time, but like just the bullet points, if I like memorize my other things and I have like my bullet points on my screen behind me, then those are just like basically thought joggers for me in case, so that I can rerun my stuff. And then with the training, like when you're talking about like the breakfast, so like having certain stuff, like because I remember what we would do with Jacob and Ashley, like Ashley would make pancakes for everybody, or like what Jacob and Ashley did for water is they just had like a Brita filter and they just had it on the counter, and whoever used it last would go refill it, and they just had solo cups so they weren't having to go buy water every single week. So just stuff like that both I really liked and also reminded me of some things that I've seen and better ways that I can implement it than I've already seen. So yeah.
Cool. Cass.
I think one that stuck to me really the most was, if you want to make X amount, or if you want to do X amount of appointments, show me with your actions and not just expect them to be there just because they said it. So that was one of my biggest takeaways, and that's pretty much it. I mean, besides the opening comments, I take really long time in opening comments, so that was a good one, 45 minutes to an hour. I hear you. He wants to go home already. We're still at school.
Javon.
I haven't actually, ran trainer interviews yet, so I don't really know how it's gonna be. But I think my biggest takeaway would be probably cutting down opening commentary, because we all know I talk a lot. So that's probably gonna be my biggest problem when I do training and stuff. So yeah, that's what stuck to me the most.
Cool. And anything, any specific, whether it was one-liners or things that I did in opening comments. I mean, those who have ran training are going to be more alert of them. But even if you haven't, you're like, I really like that you do this in the beginning. I'd love to hear those from you guys as well, by the way. So let's
Can I say one?
Yeah.
Well, just because I've ran training, and the one that sticks to me the most was like the Drew Frank videos, whenever you said that his were targeted more for like middle upper class, and how you reframed that was, you can't hear me?
Okay, yeah, you went, I had an uppercut, and I was like, what?
Yeah, so the one liner that you said, that if someone can drop $1,000 in one sitting, they're probably not considered middle class, and how you emphasize that payment plans were a better option, and you kind of reframed on people spend stuff on stupid things all the time. So those are a couple one-liners that you could still put into your training, because that's not what Drew Frank in, like, he doesn't say that in the video training.
Yeah.
That was it.
Another one that I liked, another one-liner you said is.
Really soft. Hold on. Eduardo was saying something. Hold on.
My bad.
Loud.
So one that was actually that I took away from training, that was a big deal for me. At first, when I saw the prices, I was like, who the hell spend $1,000 on a set of knives? Like stupid, And I was like considering, because obviously like my family's on lower income end. I was like how am I even gonna be successful? Like when I come to this, then I'm seeing like people, because obviously like me being me, I want to be at the top. And so I mean I see the names like 10,000, like they sold this much money, like I'm like I can't do that, And so I feel like one big important thing in my opinion is that like just reminding them, like he mentioned, oh, like she mentioned, where if they do drop $1,000, like
They're upper
they're
income.
not low income. And then also to remind them that you don't, because me being me, I mean, obviously, like I thought I knew it all, knew it all. I'm not gonna lie. And so one thing that is I didn't know what parents would spend their money on, like the fact that I've actually sold homemakers mistakes. Even when I sold my first complete set, I was confused. I was like, you really need all of this, but I mean, obviously I'm not gonna tell them that. And so, and it was
My
like,
first complete set, I was like, but you don't cook. I'm like, you don't need this. This is my dad's boss's wife.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, you didn't even look at the book. It's like you just wanted to like okay, like I was really confused, but I mean, it's cool. I'm not gonna complain. Yeah, I'm not gonna complain. And so, I mean, one big thing I think is have them like change their mindset and the fact that parents spend their money on this.
And we're going to talk about that later, like probably closer in December. We have our monthly prep. I'll be sharing some stuff that really creates big sales because that's something I learned as well to do personally and to train people. But then knowing like a complete set, who buys a complete set? You know, it's middle class people that cook all the freaking time, middle class people with big families, right? And they just have tons of people over and they need extra stuff. You know, people that entertain all the time, or upper income people who just like to have the best of everything. Anyone here know someone who is upper income and likes to have the best? At least half the room, if not 70% or more, raise their hand. Because even low income, they know that one person, you know. And for me, it was my dad's boss, Donna, who bought the first complete set, you know. And I was like, I knew they had money because they would take us. They had season tickets to every sporting event, and whenever they couldn't go, they give them to my dad because they love my dad. He worked with them for 14 or 15 years. And they would always be like, oh, Armando, you want tickets? And we would sit like third row, you know, at the Miami Heat or at the Hurricanes game or at the Dolphins game and so it was just really cool that like they always did stuff, but I knew they had money. But even though we were poor, like I knew they had money, you know? So like everyone knows that, but then right there, like, oh, I got to get that person, you know? And so it just gets them thinking about it versus like no one spent, like everyone knows someone, you know? So that's a big thing. So anyway, Hunter, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, hold on, it's in my notes. I think I was gonna say that I really liked whenever you said get out of the student mentality and get into the homeowner mentality. So they're not thinking from their point of view; they're thinking from the customer's points of view.
Yeah, that was a really big shift for me to sell bigger, you know, because I was like, that's a lot of money, you know. But I felt comfortable with starter sets because I was like, I can afford $80 a month. I can afford $20 a week. Well, if you can, they can afford more, you know. If you're seeing a target customer, they both work, they work full time, you know, they could do it. And it's tighter for some people than others. And so there's things like that where they're like, okay, so for these people, they're probably going to do payments, and then these people like pay in full. Everybody's different, you know. So anyway, go ahead, Lauren.
You can't hear me? Yeah. That's ridiculous. But where pretty much like you said that, you know, if you want to work, you know, if you want to make this much money this week, like you're gonna work full time. Like you were only targeting like the people who are gonna make a whole bunch of money who are only gonna work full time, like work their asses off, you know, and then you're losing your part time people. And so saying like, okay, but for those people who want to work part time, like you have flexible schedules, like you know, and then also what they said as far as like the homeowners and like that perspective, just like changing your mindset on the money that these people are spending. Like it's not going to be the same as you. Yeah. So those were big ones for me.
It's a big thing. It's called framing before you go into something, framing their mindset, you know, and like shifting where they're coming from versus at first they just be like, well, it's a lot of money versus like, here's this, here's a breakdown, everyone spends it, here's what kids spend it on, here's what adults spend it on, here's what things cost. It's just, you're framing it. So then they're much more like, oh, okay, versus like, I don't know, anyone who spends that, it's like, yes, they do, because you've already framed it, you know, prior. So when I learned how to do that, that made a really big difference in the results that I was having for sure. Who else is here? Christina O, and then Christina P.
Okay, I wasn't sure which one. Okay, I really liked whenever you said like you would share about different people in the offices, like their big week, like their big first weekend, like the ones that would be like at Dirty 30, like on the wall, and you would like point at them. Because like as you said, like Cutco recruits obviously like attracts a lot of people that are really competitive. So like I remember that Jacob kind of did that to me, and it kind of just reminded me because he just like would he was saying like, oh, they did this, like blah blah blah, like they broke records, and like that made me want to go beat them. So it's just like a really good way to motivate people. And I also liked whenever you said like if you like want to be the best kind of a thing, like show me with your actions. Like you can say that you're gonna go do all these things, but like you need to show me.
Awesome. Christina P.
Some of my biggest takeaways were kind of like the other Christina was about putting pictures on the wall and kind of making I would say make everybody feel appreciated and also kind of get them pumped up about where they're going next, what they're doing next, and like leveling up and kind of stuff like that and being competitive. Another thing was about cutting down your opening comments because I've personally seen it in while Jordan was running training, like they kind of leak over and then it throws everything else off. And then I think the last thing was kind of catering to your people. You need to know who you can push really hard and who you kind of just need to let sit it, like kind of back off of a little. It's kind of like.
You just said that, Christina, too, because here's what happens. Ready? When you guys run over in the beginning, what ends up having a condense, the end, and the end's where you want to spend the most time. You want more time on their schedule. You want more time on their names list. You want more phone time. So I can have an hour and a half of them making calls, role playing, and getting more numbers and getting set up for the next day. That's going to set them up more for success than the stories you told in the beginning. Do you need the stories? Yes. Do you need the confidence? Do you need it? Yes, but you can do that in half the time that most people are doing it in, and then be able to give them more time at the end, which is the most important thing. So I started learning, we called it red zone, and it was like when you got to this point, it didn't matter what the hell was happening. If it was blank time, you're stopping whatever the hell you're doing, and now you're going to have to figure out how to put it into the next day because we're not freaking cutting out the end of training. We're not rushing through the end of training. So that's a discipline that you want to get in the habit of and learn, and you won't learn it until you run training. So the more trainings you can run before you open this summer, you'll get a feel for where you're at and what you need to adjust so that you can get better with that, So last things from here. So Kenneth, Charlie, Spencer, Roman. And you were like, everyone nods. All right. Kenneth. Loud.
Apps on your people, like when you take the notes, write down who your best people are, and read over them the night before they come in, and then morning before class, we read over them again. So when they come in, you can say something to them, they know you're on their mind. And then I like the part where you said, conversation while you're doing role play. Go around the room and talk to them. Because I see Roman do that when they're training. While they're doing role play, he go around and talk to them, ask some questions, and let you know they're really involved in what they're doing, and not just playing around or something. So I like that.
Yeah. By the way, here's a big hack. I didn't share this. That's really good. Is because you guys can print out the training log, right? It's in alphabetical order, so you have it when you're doing training reminders, where you have to pull up. But you could use your sheets when you do your training reminders because you can look at it as the phone's ringing before they pick up. Because you can find something to build rapport on the phone. Like building that relationship right off the way. Like, dude, I can't wait to help you get, blank or like help you make money this summer so that when you're back at baseball, you're gonna be, you're gonna have money saved up, like whatever, like just looking at what they have going on, what they're involved with, and they're like, oh thanks, man, and they're excited that you're like, like it's personal, right? And that makes people want to show up and makes people want to stick around, So that's something you guys can do is use those sheets as you do reminder calls, so you're already doing that and then review them in training. And just have them there. You don't even have to review them before they come. You can if you want, but literally when they come and they're filling out, I'm just flipping through their sheet, looking at a couple of things, so I know what I can pour out of them. whether it's the high school they went to, the sport they played, the role they had, the National Honor Society, whatever, you know? And we can chat about that. So it just reminds me, even if you reviewed them the night before, and you don't remember any of them, like, I'm going to say, I'm not going to remember every individual 20, you know? So it's like, when they come in, just look at it real quick, and that's your cheat sheet, which is great, all right? Charlie, go.
Bunch of very kind of covered on the one-liners, but to me, you're pointing out a lot of things to help out with hip hop. So like having the right posters on the wall, display cases, having a lot of stuff everywhere, having rope, leather, carrot set up however you get there. And then like we were talking about Steve Frank, how he has like all the posters specify like Mac appointments, your top five, you know, type of food, top five pieces of food, things like that on the wall. That way, if we're not people like know someone what to do. So I didn't catch everything, but the concept that I think was the biggest thing to take away was the concept of speaking in threes, three different groups of people. You got your people that are going big, the people that are getting better, hardworking, and the people that are hardworking. And when you talk in groups of three, you're going to hit every single person in some capacity so they feel comfortable. When they feel comfortable, they know that they can do the job. So that was one of the biggest things I learned as a manager growing up. I was just like you, trying to go big for everybody, and then I scared half the people away.
Yeah, it's very common.
But when you talk in groups of three, you're going to connect with every single person to make them feel comfortable with wherever they're at. And then you can motivate them a little bit more. And then the big thing is stories tell more than you speak. So facts don't always do the justice. The story of someone doing something, what they did to achieve the goal, especially when you have their name on the wall, like, oh, you know, Lauren is not a working person, but she showed her ass up every morning to beat the dude 10K, right? And they're like, oh, okay, knowing that that's not how they have to live their life. And they're like, oh, I can work for a week. I can do that. I think that's really huge, and it's really going to pour belief into the people who are like, I don't want to do that all week, but man, if I put $2,000 in my bank account, I can bust my ass for it. So that was my big.
I liked when you talked about public speaking. After the talk is over, someone should be able to say the theme of your talk. I thought that was really right on the money because it's funny. I was watching the show last week called Rhythm and Flow. That has to do with like music, and they were talking about how if they're like 60 seconds that they get in front of them is not good enough, that they're going to remember them like later that night. They're not. So if I'm like talking to them during training, and the things that I'm saying, if it's not good enough that they're going to remember the theme of all training, what is the theme, and I'm not doing a good enough job. So that really spoke to me. I really like the subtle head nod and how you were talking about the I was trying to think about it when I spoke at some kickoff. I was like gripping the podium, and like made me feel like I don't know. I was like gripping the edge of the podium, fucking stressed up. So I was able to speak to the whole group. So I was just trying to think, what do people do and how I see it. Now I feel like that's something I'll watch is when someone's talking like what is their theme. And then talking about training, I think it's really crucial that you cover like how big you can actually go in your fast start. I also think it's really important to talk about the spectrums. I bring up the fact of like the most that I have trained someone to make in their first level, the most that I've seen this Chris to train level, the most in the company's record is like 2 years ago. Matthew Way made like $20,000 his first 10 days, and then I'm like, the least that we've ever had someone make was 0. And then I go and all I have to do is put an effort and make the stories and examples like hit on the money. Okay, John, then Amy, just always about like the seed dropping because when I'm going through the conference, I feel like the whole time I'm going through, there's like ways I can find myself as I'm going through the stats. And so there's there's more. And I just keep going. And I go up to Charlie's like, and Charlie's like, bro, I'm like, Charlie, what's your first weekend? 3,000. That's average. Yeah, how much you make? Charlie, what's your fast time? Just like having all of those connections. This is huge. And they believe in themselves that they can do it. Yeah, it's huge.
Awesome. Covered a lot, but thank you guys so much. And keep me updated on what's happening. I want to know what's going on, demo-wise, sales, learning, anything you're implementing. I want to hear those things. So keep me posted. I mean, basically over the next month, I'm watching, and my goal is by December 16th to have at least our DM territories solidified. But really, I need to see action. And some people I can't give a territory until I see things, because money's too low and I can't give a territory to somebody and then the company's we're not gonna approve for them to go out because they haven't put money aside and the company's not comfortable in investing into somebody who's not good with money or a consistent performer. They're like, well, why the hell should we give money if we don't even know what they're gonna do with it, you know? So that's important, making sure startup keeps going up. And that's just consistent sales. You know, you be doing a couple appointments a week no matter what and just keep putting some money away. That's really big, and getting and then putting the stuff into action that you guys are learning. So that's really big that's happening. So keep me posted on those things. We'll chat. We'll see you guys next week. We'll talk to you during the week this week, but keep also posting in the GroupMe. I really want that group active, and I want to ask you guys for your leadership and helping that happen. That'll be really big too for just setting the tone and just getting the rhythm of that for this next year. All right. So those of you guys who are going to go roll us here, let's take a couple minutes, stretch, get more food if you want, get some water, use the toilet, and then dive in. All right, what's up? What? So I'm gonna use the bathroom and you guys get ready for.
Yeah, we have time.
Bye, Kathy.
It's just gonna be called Houston.
I'll do it Central Houston, but I think
Yeah, so it'll be Central Houston or Houston. All right, do you guys not want to stretch your butt or anything? You don't need anything? You guys go. All right, let me stop this.